Good morning from New York. Today's subject, the path of the mystic is love. Fake love, the choice between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Okay. The mystics in the world all get along fine. They're not having wars. And they have different religious affiliations. That's an interesting thing to note. And no true mystic goes around twisting people's arms and telling them believe what I do or else. And they're not into punishing people. They're into healing souls. And, healing is all about love. And that means getting needs met and providing the meeting of needs. And we do that in our conversations. And so the ultimate path is always love. And if love don't get you there, look out. Let's see. Fake love. Yeah. Well, most of us know when we see it. It's some of us don't. Fake love always has a barb in it somewhere, punishment and hate. And I love you, but I hate your sin. How do you hate a disease? Jesus referred to that sort of things as, the sin is a disease, It's not. Yeah. And, whether you take to the healing or not, I don't know. You're going to have some bad consequences if you don't take your path toward the healing of love. And that's just, but nobody's perfect either, so, And a lot of fake love has to do with, a kind of worshipful attitude toward books and people and notions. And considering these as the source of all love. The source of love is drawn close to by the use of forms of empathy, which mean, understanding the other, whether inside yourself or outside of yourself. Which you, for the moment, consider other. You're talking to yourself, one is the other. And it's also you. And taking that echo of me to me, outside of, or eye to eye, outside of the I, in daily life, means an empathy with other people. And it's not hateful. And it's not judgmental, it's caring. It's They're forms of empathy, which are for ways of caring. The object is always love, the love flow, which means that you are sending out love and it's echoing back. And if the other person responds, then it's even stronger. So if they respond in a loving way, but the love still comes back to you that you send out, because there's always a part of you, the kid in you, your dramatic self, that experiences everything and doesn't necessarily draw a line between self and other. So bringing that to a relationship, just to make it easier to understand, it's an attempt to understand the other person and to feel what they feel. And that's what I call empathy. But that's complex empathy, to be exact. When one baby cries and they all cry, that's a kind of empathy, but it's not thoughtful. It's the understanding is not there. It's just just how the baby responds. It's how your infant self experiences things. It just influenced and mirroring, just a kind of mirroring, which is the mirroring is I'm getting deep again. The mirroring is a kind of feedback loop. It's kind of and it's a very source of consciousness itself. When you don't have that feedback loop, you don't really have consciousness. It's yeah. I was going to try to make that simple. It's harder to write a short, impacting piece than it is to write a long one that's rather hit and miss. I am up kind of early and I'm a little tired. Please forgive that. It's one of the few times that I have to do this sort of thing, and it's a channel for everybody, and I hope that more people will be submitting videos about the subject of expanding empathy and awareness. But empathy is basically the mirroring that I talked about, plus understanding, an attempt to understand. And when you understand, then that's where you go from wanting to punish somebody to understanding that they're hurting inside, and that the love flow is messed up. And beating them over the head isn't going to, or frightening them into better behavior isn't a cure. And scared straight means that someone is acting in a good way because they're afraid not to. And okay, maybe I've simplified the perspective there a little bit with that. real empathy responds also to real feeling. You know, when somebody's expression of feeling moves you and to empathy, it's because it feels genuine. And fake love can fool people who are into punishing attitudes and into symbolic forms of love, which, again, symbolic forms of love is not the person's fault. They're following these symbols because they were at one time in a situation where they were helpless to get their needs met, and feeling the needs as they were at that time was too anxiety provoking. And so symbolic love was a replacement to lower the anxiety. So it's an illness. Fake love is an illness. I remember a fellow that was, and fake love is also manipulative, and it uses, and often uses anger and fear. You know, I love you, and my love for you is my hatred for your enemies, right? Ooh, I hate those people, just like you do. See how much I love you? Yeah, well, that's not real love, that's fake. You know, do good to those who, despitefully use you. Bless those who curse you. You know, a true mystic speaks in this kind of a way. And yeah, who did that? No. Okay, the lighting's not too good here. You might have noticed. But this is very genuine, straight from the heart. I mean, this is not edited and perfected. It's straight up. So, where were we? Fake love. I can remember a time when this very manipulative preacher had to get sympathy for himself. Says, "Oh, the Lord's coming to take me," and everybody's, and, yeah, he's manipulating you, and so they were responding to it, oh, we don't want to see you go. And then he throws in something about what they need to do to fix it. Yeah. And let's move right over to Donald Trump. Symbolic love. Well, the poor guy. I mean, he must have suffered tremendous amounts of damage, faith, and love. And, well, just one look at his father, and you can see that just doesn't. He doesn't seem to be all that warm and fuzzy. Let's put it down. And probably pretty demanding, I would guess. And, oh, you just saw some pictures. Yeah. Believe me, a picture can speak 1,000 words. Yeah, but I've also read a bit and listened to people who knew the guy. So there's a little bit of more than that. But trust me, you can tell a lot about a person from the set of their face. They're you can see a kind of buried anger and fear um, inside a person who's smiling. You can see it. It's still there. And that's usually from, some damage that's occurred. And, but it's pretty bad when you can, when it's a constant feature in the face. And, you can, well, I won't go on and on about that, but, hugging a flag, holding a Bible upside down, using what people love as a prop. That's somebody who's trying to fool somebody. People who genuinely like the good things that are said in the Bible and see it as a work of a piece of writing that is notable. We'll have favorite verses, probably. At least some paraphrase of those verses. You may not know the chapter and the verse, but they know some things that's written in there. And Donald Trump refused to answer that question. But it said that he was a devout Christian. If you're devout in your religion, wouldn't you have a favorite verse or two? Really? Then why wouldn't you tell somebody about it? Oh, it's a personal thing. It's a very personal thing. That's pretty fake, wouldn't you say? And hugging a flag? You look at that, it's just a little off. What president ever held a Bible upside down for a prop and hugged the American flag? Well, the American flag is symbolic of, it should be respected the way you would picture somebody's grandfather or grandmother, you wouldn't want to disrespect, any source of goodness whatsoever. And didn't mean to do that with Fred Trump. Just pointing out the illness that I saw. It's just diagnostic. But, yeah. A lot of people make fun of Trump. That is sad when you are so fake. I mean, that means that person is lost to their real feelings due to traumatic events, adverse childhood experiences, CPTSD, PTSD. Yeah. They're hurting. But should you let them lead the country? Somebody that's out of touch with their feelings, whose displays of love are so fake that you feel no resonance with it. Should you vote for that? Is that person can't has trouble acting in a caring way toward themselves? How are they going to treat you? You know, you elect them president of the United States. No, the American flag and the Star Spangled Banner, and, you know, that just can bring tears to your eyes. You know, when you associate good things with it. Of course, it's had its bad times, and but it's moving forward. You know, as Dr. Martin Luther King talked about, you know, the country's moving forward, but it sometimes moves a little backward, and when it does, just like in Germany, it's because of hatefulness. The hatefulness toward immigrants displayed by Trump is not even good for the economy. I mean, a lot of people love a slave, and that's not the way to treat people. That's not the higher road. But these people come up here and they work, and they don't get anything in terms of benefits back. And you all know you're not getting paid fair to begin with as a worker. And you pay more than your fair share of taxes in sales tax alone. And pretty much keeps a person down, right? So, feel ya. Guess who else feels you? Joe Biden. Joe Biden isn't perfect. And, you can always nitpick and find things wrong with people. And people who are genuine can laugh at themselves. And you see Joe doing that, you know. The little self-deprecating humor. And it's also a polite thing, you know. So, you know, to make fun of yourself is, you know, you're not hurting anybody's feelings except your own. And the humor makes that easy to bear. You got to be a little, you know, the humor is a way of being playful with your negative things, and that's okay. And people who are sensitive don't go nuts if somebody gives them a roast. That's you know, just playfully making fun of somebody, you know. They don't go nuts. That's how you know they're more about fake love than they are real love. And more about real love for themselves, because they can handle it, right? And the one thing about Donnie is that poor little fellow just can't seem to laugh at himself. He can't seem to see any flaws in himself. You know, he's made a lot of his money off of bankruptcies and things. You know, his friends say he's not a good businessman, but he's a good showman. Yeah, showman, but not a good businessman. To me, that sounds like a con man. But and people, you should feel sorry for people who are conning other people, you know. And you know, I don't blame them any more than I blame the people who follow them. It's like they are often, the followers are often less crazy than the person that they're following. That's something I've noticed. They're redeemable, and so are Trump followers. Fool me once, shame on you. Shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me too. Yeah. So, anyway, we're coming to an election, and we have a clear choice. And we could, of course, throw away our vote writing in our neighbor. That might be the best choice, but, practically speaking, we have two choices. And one of them is going to be in the White House. You can choose the flag hugger, or the one that truly respects the flag and democracy. That's the big lie about the election being stolen and all that sort of thing. Lying and fake love go together so well. I remember a fellow who was a tank commander and grew up partly under the the reign of Hitler, and he was on a show that I did with a great man, Jason Ellis, who worked at the UTA, University of Texas Arlington, and this was we called it Bridge Builders, and it was a Wayne's World gone serious, kind of thing, public access TV. And one of the guests was this fellow I just mentioned, the tank commander in the Nazi forces. And we asked him a few questions. Was there anything that you felt very wrong about, when you were, fighting for your country in that time? And he said, well, they told me to go to a little town and kill everyone. And I'm not mocking him. I'm just trying to have a little light humor here. He was a great man. But anyway, he says, very honest. And but my little tank couldn't get through this passage, that he had to take. So I don't know whether I would have done that or not. Yeah, you got to put yourself in his position, It's, fight on that side or be killed, So Trump supporters, you can turn around. You can turn your tank around and you can vote for Joe, Don't let him fool you again. But the other thing that he said, and I asked him, he was in the Hitler Youth. And I asked him, well, how did he fool children in that way? And his answer was, well, he told us we were the best. And what child doesn't want to believe they're the best? So, of course, the other side of that was the the horrific things that the Nazis did. They didn't just tell their kids they were the best. They told them that other kids, some of them, they didn't tell the kids this, but they told some of the adults that some of the other kids didn't deserve to live. The sadness of that is terrible, and but this guy wasn't showing fake love. He was being honest. And it's that horrific war. The democracies acted against it. They put down the evil. And our veterans always fought for democracy. Except for the Confederates who fought against it, fought against the Union, unity of the country, and against democracy because they weren't getting their way with slavery. Yeah. Don't repaint that. That's what happened. And everybody's forgivable. But they won't feel it themselves, and they won't change until they can forgive themselves. And that means a path toward love. So, what did Trump say about our veterans? I believe it was losers. What did he say about our John McCain? What did he say about him? Oh, he didn't honor people that were captured. Something like that. He disrespected him. A guy. Whatever you believe about that war, he fought for democracy. And he suffered terribly in a North Vietnamese prison for a long time. He called him a loser. Wow. So, at this point, I beg of you to notice that Joe Biden is at least slightly better than Donald Trump. And quite frankly, I think he's tremendously better and healthier. I mean, just look at the two guys, yeah. Trump, as far as empathy goes, he makes fun of the handicapped. Yeah? He makes fun of people who have a weight problem, and he has a weight problem. Never makes fun of himself. Can't laugh about himself. When the comedians come after him, he attacks them viciously. he's fragile. Can't you see? He's not strong. He's very fragile. This guy is to be pitied. I don't I don't agree with punishing people to make them better. People are they should have a disincentive, but you shouldn't be trying to be cruel to them. You put them in prison, but that should be about reform. And if they're still sick, you don't let them out. You try to heal them, and then provide a pathway for them to leave and not come back. But in the world full of the influence of punishment, that breeds hypocrisy. It really does. And Jesus talked about that too, two guys praying side by side. And the one guy says, he admits his faults, like Joe, he admits any faults, or problems, and, he's praying and he says, please forgive me. I know that, I've done all of this wrong. The other fellow's praying, and he says, I thank you, Lord, that I'm so much better than this fellow over here. And, Trump says he doesn't need to be forgiven. He actually said that. Well, Jesus said the one that came away clean was the honest guy. Yeah. Now you were fooled in the past, maybe, and maybe you're still thinking, oh, look, it was rigged. The election wasn't rigged. They tested it several times because of this annoying fellow, Trump. And it all came up the same. There was no big discrepancy. And Republicans and Democrats work counting the votes, okay? It's a pretty good system. And it's dependable. You want to get right down to it, he lost both elections with the popular vote. He lost to Hillary, who he made fun of and put down by 3 million votes. And Joe bested him, I think it's over 7 million. Took that to overcome the Electoral College. Yeah, which came about because the states thought they were, more part of a confederacy than they were a union. Thought they were independent countries. That kind of flavor, you'd think that the Civil War would have ended that debate. Yeah. And they still talk about it today, and it never makes sense, right or left. I mean, together we do well. United we stand, divided we fall. Now, who divides America more? Well, that would be Trump. Getting you to hate people. For heaven's sakes. It's just this idea about abortion, he's going to end the right of a woman and her doctor to decide the best choice. You know, taking that away, and you say you don't want government controlling things. Well, Trump is trying to have the government control your lives, ladies, and the lives of the men too. With this idea that you can pass a law that's better than the wisdom of the doctor and the lady and her choice. Doctors are afraid to do abortions now to save a woman, even though everything's pointed that way, that she could lose her life or be damaged so that she can never have another child. They're afraid now because they could go to prison for doing the right thing for that lady. A right thing could be an abortion, which would allow her to have another child. Have it work out, But because of that, it's like you got to know. Think about it. You got to know for sure that the lady's going to die if she doesn't get the abortion. How does that work? By the time you know that she's going to die, she is almost dead. That is not a good answer. Ladies, you should vote in droves for Joe Biden. What's the matter with you? You don't want the government in control. Well, Democrats aren't all about government control. Come on. We have two business parties, Nobody in the United States is for government controlling everything. But the Democrats are about making it fair for the working man, the working lady. And I don't see that in the Republican Party. Not anymore. It's under Trump, the Republican Party has fallen into, well, they should be ashamed. They've fallen into an anti-democratic, crazy choice when you go to vote. It's just nuts. Just look at what the Lincoln Project says about it. Whatever your point of view, democracy's on the line too. Right now, in this election period. So, get energized about Joe. Joe's not, a showman. He's just not. He's not a Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., with a great voice like that and, just so eloquent. No. But he grew up in a working class family. He knew hardship. He handled hardship that would have just crushed most people. And then you call him weak? How is he weak? Did you see him at the State of the Union, or did you just refuse to watch? Very strong leader, a respected leader around the world, whereas Trump was made fun of by our allies. And Trump told our allies that we wouldn't defend them if they didn't pay more for their own military defense. Really. Said, yeah, we won't defend you. Russia can invade, and no problem. Twisting arms. That's not the way to approach things. Just isn't. We need win-win solutions. And we need democracy in this world. And we're not going to be able to compete very well economically if we're cruel to immigrants. Immigrants are like, what is it, 15% of the workplace? And the vast number of those people are across the border without our knowing. Fine. They came up to work. Now, we've got a recent problem with immigration. Yes, we do. Because they're gaming our system. They're able to do that because we don't have enough courts to make a fair and just and caring decision about who deserves asylum and what we can afford to take in. We don't have enough courts. There was a bipartisan bill made just recently that Joe Biden would have signed that would have drastically cut the criminal importation and exportation, I guess. Well, the monetary problem with illegal drugs, are buying them and the cartel selling. Now, I'm not great with words, as you can tell. I mean, if I can write better than I speak, and that's not anything to write home about. But I hope that you're understanding what I'm trying to say here. Yeah, my point is, after this bipartisan bill, Trump, who has a great deal of control over the Republicans in Congress, said, don't vote for this because I need to be elected. How much does he care about country? How much does he care about you? And because of Trump, a lot every day, a lot more drugs are going across that border. Every day, there are people, children dying in the river with razor wire set up to meet them. Cartels getting richer. People suffering needlessly because Trump said no, told his supporters in Congress, say no. Now, doggone it, whether your issue is abortion or your issue is the border, Trump is a terrible decision for you to make. So yeah, I'm a little bit angry. Comes out of frustration. For heaven's sakes, pay attention to your own needs at least. Don't fall for the fake. Snap out of it. He promised you change, and what took place? No change. Was he helping the poor? Well, who were his decision makers? billionaires and millionaires on his cabinet. Guess who's funding his campaign? The rich, the super rich, who control almost everything. So, they own with at least 40% of the wealth in the country, just a handful of people. You've got to be kidding me. Does that sound like democracy to you? Does that sound like fair taxation? Where's the love flow? If that money's coming to them, where's it going back into the infrastructure that gave them that money? To the pockets of the poor and the suffering people the people who risk their lives every day, firefighters, police, CIA, FBI, so many different people. Are you for them? Then you should be for democracy. And the rich need to pay their fair share of the taxes. That's who's funding Trump. That's why he's still out there. And the tactics being used to keep him out of jail are the same tactics that were used long ago when Nazi sympathizers in our own Senate were facing trial. Put it off, delay it, put it off, delay it. Confuse the issue. That's what's going on right now. Why are they trying the lesser crimes when he should be being tried on the issue of insurrection? Never happened. Well, go to trial, huh? Go to trial. You'll get a fair decision from the American people after all the facts are in. Why wouldn't you want to rush to trial if you thought he was innocent of the insurrection? Had no fault in it. Why wouldn't you let's do this. Let's do this now. Look, you're being fooled. Don't, if you were fooled once, don't be fooled again. If you're sitting on the fence, make a fair comparison. Joe is also working to help the environment. Now, hurting people seem to focus more selfishly on their own needs. What's going on at the moment? How much does bread cost? It's not how much bread costs. It's whether there'll even be bread in the future if this global warming continues unabated. There will be mass starvation, all kinds. It doesn't happen overnight, and it's already happening now. There are areas impacted by global warming that are causing immigration problems. Look, you might not have agreed with everything I had to say. But I dare you to do the research on it, because I trust my sources. I am not a professor, and I didn't write it all down and present it to you. That would be kind of slow when you can do it yourself. Look around. Look for reliable sources, see what you think. But the internet is full of people saying things that have no backup. Mainstream media, these are brave people. These are people they're reporters who go into the midst of war and risk their lives to bring you the truth. What do you get from an armchair guy who thinks he's right, who has nothing, putting nothing on the line, and telling you things that are, quite frankly, hard to believe. On the internet, okay? Telling you things, trying to fool you, or else fooled themselves. You're going to cut off the mainstream media completely and listen to people who are on the internet blabbering away with nothing on, putting nothing on the line, when you've got brave people working for the mainstream media. And you can criticize them. Sometimes they are very swayed by the politics around. But you can tell if you listen to enough of their broadcasters. You can tell where that influence is strong, as in Fox News, which is ridiculously bought by the Republican perspective. And the bad part of that perspective. I wonder how many of the people that support Trump today, if the Civil War happened again, would they fight for slavery? I wonder. If you were once a Trump supporter, prove me wrong there. Show me there's hope for this great country. Show me that you're capable of being a little bit like the great Joe Biden. I'm no Joe Biden. I have not been through what he went through. I have not struggled as he had to struggle. I've struggled. And I have my small offering on this channel. But this is Joe Biden's a great man. He just is. And if anything great about me is the insights that were given to me, one way or another, by a great country. Can we really be proud of anything? It's all a matter of damage and repair. And but now and then I see true courage. And I see it every day. And our police, our fire, our FBI, CIA reports. You wouldn't believe the reports of the things they're dealing with. You wouldn't take that job. And every day, bridge builders, many of whom were illegally here, who die making the bridges that you cross every day to work, in some places anyway. And certainly the roads that you ride on. A lot die there. And let's throw in the garbage collectors who also take great risks to keep your streets clean. The nurses and the doctors who, in spite of a terrible pandemic, work day and night to save lives. If you respect these people, you'll vote for Joe. Joe knows their struggle. Joe has come from a poor working class background. He understands if you're an immigrant, he understands you. He may not be able to give you all you want because he can't as president. But everything he says comes from his heart. And his intentions are all good. So it's up to you. You can vote red or you can vote blue. But right now, vote blue, in my humble opinion. That is the best choice. It's not enough to just vote for Joe. Vote for people who are for democracy. And now, that's mostly Democrats. Mostly. So, just vote blue. It's easy. Why not? Vote blue, keep them in long enough to know what will happen if they, if their policies are carried through, which aren't going to be an overthrow of the government. Let them have a shot, and then when they fail, well, vote for the other side if they're offering something better, or say they are. You believe everything somebody says. No, don't do that. Don't even do that with Democrats. But take a look at their track record. Take a look at what they've done. Take a look where they stand. Be an educated voter and support Joe. It's for the life of the country. It's democracy that helps us to be more empathetic and aware. And it's being empathetic and aware that can save our nation and keep us a shining light around the world. It's up to you, patriots. It's up to you. You can vote red, or you can vote blue. Right now, the only true choice seems to be blue, in my perspective. And vote in the primaries, for crying out loud. Whatever party you're in, vote in the primaries and help decide who you get to choose from in the general election. Vote in the primaries of the two parties. Hello? Anyway, I'm in full support for Joe Biden, and I hope you will be too. Could I be wrong? Oh, yeah. Been wrong a lot of times. But All my bets are on Joe. And I think I have some really good reasons for feeling that way. You know, you voted for Barack Obama. Vote for Joe. Barack Obama's standing shoulder to shoulder with Joe right now, as he did in the past. They both made things just a little bit better. Yeah. That's what Democrats tend to do, in my opinion, is make things just a little bit better. And then pretty soon the little bit better gets to be, oh, well, of course. Yeah. Anyway, save the planet, save our nation, vote blue. And I'll give you my Irish blessing here. Something that you can make fun of, you know, 'cause everybody needs something to make fun of. And I'm a terrible singer, so, you know, that's easy to do. But it's from my heart. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, the rain fall soft upon your fields, and until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Or her hand, or its hand, however you see it. There's a source for all love. Have faith in that. Anyway, we're all part of this universe. We're all the universe knowing itself, to quote the great physicist. And mentor of Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, just look that up. Yeah, you'll have to look him up. Look him up. Mentor of Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah. Read about him. Be better than anything I could say. Should I give you the name? Oh, all right. Carl Sagan. But look him up. Right. Look him up anyway. Now it's easy, huh? Carl Sagan. Anyhow, and the word that I use that expresses the fact that we are all the universe knowing itself, that we are in a sense one with the universe and with one another. That word is namaste. Love brings us together, and you can make a great day today. Namaste.